At one point in American history, one man controlled roughly 90% of the nation's oil refining, and that man was John D. Rockefeller. Not a king. Not a president. Not a general. A businessman. And that's what makes this story dangerous. Because Rockefeller didn't just make money. He built a machine that turned chaos into control, competition into leverage, and leverage into a fortune so large it rewrote what rich even meant. He became the first confirmed US dollar billionaire in 1916. And the real question is not, how much money did he make? The real question is, how did one man learn to dominate an entire industry so completely that the world had to invent new rules just to stop him? Stay with me, because the answer starts with a boy who learned very early that trust is expensive. Rockefeller was born in 1839 in New York, into a world that did not promise him anything. His father was a drifter, a hustler, and a man with a reputation for dishonesty. Rockefeller grew up watching instability at home, and that shaped him more than almost anything else. He did not become rich because he was flashy. He became rich because he was controlled, careful, obsessed, and almost unnervingly patient. As a teenager, he learned bookkeeping, worked as an assistant bookkeeper, and became known for his precision with numbers. That mattered, because Rockefeller's gift was never just ambition. It was measurement. He understood that what gets measured gets managed, and what gets managed can be controlled. That may sound ordinary. It wasn't. Most people chase money. Rockefeller chased systems. That difference is everything. Because if you can control the system, you don't have to fight for every dollar. The dollars come to you. But that only explains the mindset. Not the empire. Not yet. Rockefeller entered the oil business at exactly the right time. Oil was exploding into a major industry, but the market was chaotic. Prices swung wildly. Rival refineries fought each other. Railroads had enormous power. Most businessmen saw opportunity. Rockefeller saw an opening in the middle of the confusion. He didn't start by chasing the oil wells. He focused on refining. That was the choke point. That was where value moved through. That was where the money could be controlled. This is where Rockefeller separated himself from everyone else. He didn't just want to participate in a growing industry. He wanted to make the industry depend on him. And he did it with ruthless efficiency. He cut costs. He bought smarter. He negotiated harder. He treated every part of the business like a weapon. If a refinery was weak, he absorbed it. If a rival was vulnerable, he pressured it. If a railroad offered him an advantage, he took it. And then he repeated the process. Again. And again. And again. This is the pattern most people miss. Rockefeller's rise was not a single genius move. It was a compounding series of small, relentless advantages. He built dominance the same way erosion shapes stone, slowly, then suddenly. Then came the move that changed everything. Rockefeller helped create Standard Oil in 1870, and from there the game changed. Over time, Standard Oil became the most feared company in America, not because it had the most noise, but because it had the most control. One of the most powerful parts of his strategy was consolidation. Instead of endlessly competing with dozens of companies, Rockefeller bought them, merged them, absorbed them, or pressured them until they disappeared into his system. In popular retellings, this gets described as greed. That's too simple. What Rockefeller understood was that competition is expensive, but coordination is profitable. Every rival lowers margins. Every merger increases power. Every acquisition removes uncertainty. And uncertainty is the tax that ruins most businesses. Rockefeller hated waste, hated inefficiency, and hated emotional decision-making. He wanted a business that ran like a machine. That machine became Standard Oil. By controlling refining, logistics, distribution, and pricing power, he turned oil into something far more dangerous than a commodity. He turned it into a network. And once the network was strong enough, his empire stopped behaving like a company and started behaving like infrastructure. That's when people realized they were no longer dealing with a businessman. They were dealing with a system. But there was still a problem. Big systems attract big enemies. And Rockefeller's enemies were about to arrive. As Standard Oil grew, so did the outrage. Critics accused Rockefeller of monopolistic tactics, unfair pressure, and crushing smaller competitors. His public image became toxic. He was widely hated, feared, and attacked in newspapers and political circles. This is the part where most people think the story ends. It doesn't. Because the backlash did not destroy him. It refined him. Rockefeller learned that power has two forms: economic power and reputational power. If you ignore reputation long enough, the public eventually comes for the empire. So he changed the approach. He became more private, more controlled, more strategic. He shifted toward philanthropy, funding major institutions and presenting himself less like a predator and more like a benefactor. He helped found the University of Chicago and used charity as both legacy and insulation. Now pause here, because this is critical. A lot of people think philanthropy was just generosity. It was that. But it was also an image strategy, a legitimacy strategy, a continuity strategy. Rockefeller understood something most wealthy people still don't: money alone does not secure power. Narrative does. If the public sees you as a villain, they will eventually demand punishment. If they see you as useful, they may tolerate your wealth. So Rockefeller kept building. Not just wealth. Not just reputation. He built permanence. And then came the moment that made history. In 1916, John D. Rockefeller became the first confirmed US dollar billionaire. Think about that. Not millionaire. Not tens of millions. Billionaire. In an era when that word had no cultural shorthand, no template, no comparison point. He was in territory nobody had mapped before. And what makes that even more remarkable is that Rockefeller did not become rich by accident, luck, or inheritance at the top of the pyramid. He built himself upward through discipline, control, timing, and consolidation. He identified the bottleneck. He dominated the bottleneck. Then he turned domination into a financial engine. That's the lesson. The richest people in history rarely win by being the loudest. They win by being hardest to replace. So what did Rockefeller actually teach the world? First, find the choke point. He didn't obsess over every part of the oil business. He focused on the part that controlled everything else. Second, scale through control, not chaos. He grew by reducing friction, removing duplication, and absorbing competition. Third, protect the story. When public opinion turned, he used philanthropy and image repair to stabilize the empire. Fourth, build systems, not moods. Rockefeller was not chasing motivation. He was building architecture. That's why his story still matters. Not because everyone should copy his methods. They shouldn't. But because his life exposes a pattern that still runs the modern world. The people who win long term are usually the ones who understand leverage, structure, and patience better than everyone else. Rockefeller's fortune did not come from oil alone. It came from seeing what others missed. That the real money is not always in the product. Sometimes it is in the pipeline. Sometimes it is in the network. Sometimes it is in the rules. And sometimes, the man who gets richest is the one who realizes the game was never about oil at all. It was about control.